Everyone. Welcome back to another Dojo Live. I am Tulio Siragusa, broadcasting from Southern California. Today is Thursday, July 29th, 2021. This is the last show of the week. I'm excited to have our final guest this week, who is Hannes Bend. He's the CEO at Breathing AI, and of course, joined by Kim Lantis, our co host in Hermosillo, Mexico. Carlos might
Oh,
join us. He might not join us. We'll see. He's running late. We might keep him out today just to punish him for being late. No, we don't do stuff like that. But anyway, Hannes, it's great to have you as our guest today. We're talking about personalizing screens and tech for our well-being. We're going to go into that a lot in just a few minutes. Before we do that, let's get to know you a little bit. Please, Hannes, tell us about yourself.
Nice. Thank you so much for having me, Tulio and Kim. I'm Hannes Bent, the founder of Breathing.ai, and I got into the tech startup world after years of neuroscience research, art projects, very much technology, creative art fields. So now I'm here in the New York area, very exploring how we can improve human well-being through technology. And I grew up in Northern Europe, Norway, and Germany. I've been in the New York area now for about 10 years, but also moved around a lot, did research at the University of Oregon with researchers at Princeton, University of Miami. So a lot over the US the last 10 years.
Cool. Before we go into understanding your company, I'm curious, which of those cities did you like the best so
Oh,
far?
that's
Not to put you
loaded
on the
question.
spot.
Loaded question.
that's yeah.
Well, a lot of Europeans like Miami, for example. I mean, that's a very European kind of a city. So I was just curious. That's like a big Oregon. You got the Northwest, New York, Northeast, and you have the South East.
It
Which
is quite
one,
a smorgasbord.
if you had to pick one, obviously you settled in New York. Is New York the favorite?
it's a
Maybe.
I feel like every time I was living somewhere else, I thought myself, why do people do that stressful life in New York? And whenever I came back to New York, it was a different city because I lived in
Right.
areas. So there's so many different ways of New York. Definitely the stress levels are different in Miami and Portland and Eugene. But there's always, I feel like every time I came back, it was a different New York for me. So that
That's what it's famous for. Never a dull moment, right? But I moved around a lot too as an adult, and then once you get down to Southern California, you just don't leave because it's paradise here. Anyway, let's continue with the
Yeah, I haven't
show
left
today.
Mexico because the food is great. So
Exactly. If you're a foodie, Sonora is the place to be. No questions asked. So, Hannes, let's talk about breathing AI. Tell us what it's all about. How to give birth to this idea. What is it? What is it that you guys do?
Yeah, we're wellness made easy, basically healthier screen time in the blink of an eye. So integrating healthy habits. So we all struggle with a lot of screen time, and it's hard to sometimes find the time for wellness practices. So we just offer 20 seconds to 2 minute little break reminders. Could be like rolling our shoulders, taking a deep breath, blinking our eyes. The things we sometimes all forget on the screen. So just like very simple exercises, and then if people want to dive more into mindfulness or posture or so, they can do that. And we also offer color filters. So some people use grayscale, dark mode. So a color, personalized color can make a big difference on our eye strain. Also, as our studies have shown, on heart rate and breathing patterns. So a simple like color filter can really just reduce the heart rate and breathing patterns. So we have our first Chrome extension out right now in private beta, and hopefully launching it next month in public beta. So it combines multiple features that, for instance, like other Chrome extensions are very popular right now. And we also have this patented customization. We use the vital signs to detect somebody's heart rate and breathing patterns. So while you're on your screen, we can analyze without identifiable information, only using a small portion of the forehead and shoulder movements
Wow.
to detect how if somebody's more stressed, elevated heart rate, or shallower breathing patterns. And then we can also suggest the break reminders based on that, or the color filters, and just seeing what somebody truly how somebody could be personally helped in that sense. And just very simple, and it makes a big difference sometimes, when we're very long stressful like email session or something, and we keep going but it's not really helping us. So after 45 minutes, just a simple letting go exhale, or sitting more upright, and all of a sudden, we get a little bit of an extra boost, and we're reducing our stress. So we're offering multiple features, but in one packed Chrome extension, and we have our patented
That's
technology.
great. I'm
Wow.
afraid I'm afraid mine would be like you're on the verge of a heart attack and the computer would just shut down.
No, I'm look. I mean, most of the time, the questions you ask are we think about what would someone watching want to ask, right? And then sometimes they're self-serving. That's the beauty of being the host of these show. We learn stuff, right? So I'm curious about the heart rate thing because what color reduces the heart rate? Which one? Because I was diagnosed with POTS when I was younger, which means I have a higher elevated heart rate than normal. So I'm always curious, what's the color that drops the heart rate, and which is the color that raises it?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
hold that thought. That may be the one follow-up question we'll have. Let's introduce the topic. Carlos, welcome. Kim, please introduce the topic. Let's go right into it. But that's definitely
Thank
a
you.
question I'm curious about.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, Kim,
Yep.
did we lose you?
I think did we
Shoes. Am I
did
okay?
she freeze?
Am I
You're good.
Well, Kim, you want to go
Carlos, I
ahead?
think she's a little frozen with the internet. Maybe you could introduce the topic.
No
Are you
problem at
ready?
all. Yeah,
Thanks, buddy.
absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, and of course, thanks to our guest for being here. And I'm sorry about my last minute dropout. Had a little family emergency, but I'm back. So the topic is healthier screen time in the blink of an eye and with AI. So we're going to be discussing personalizing screens. I look forward to that, and tech to our well-being so that we, the users, feel and perform better. That's the topic as chosen by our guest. So let's start with that, Haynes. Um, First question that I have for you is why did you choose this particular topic and why did you feel it was relevant for this day and age? Although it might be self explanatory, but I want to hear it from you. Why did you choose this particular topic today? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Hi, Carlos. Yeah, I think we all struggle with a lot of screen time, especially during the pandemic, and it's not so easy to make time for a little break or for mindfulness practices, or getting a reminder to sit, relax our shoulders, blink our eyes. There's something like email apnea where we hold our breathing. When we open the inbox, it's really a scientific phenomena, and or phenomena research in science. So there's so many different ways everybody struggles with the screen time, and the screen itself is never really personalized. But personalized workspaces improve performance by 30%, studies have shown. So we all, now we're working from home, but there's still the workspace we're engaging with is still not personalized, the screen. And and there's a lot of like obviously stress and high demand, and just giving that little break reminder and then the personalized screens can go a long way. And so we're easily and effortlessly integrating our technology into people's lives with a Chrome extension. People don't have to open up another app or so, or
Right.
wearable. So it's just very making it very simple for users to feel better.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay.
am
I
I
love
back?
that.
Am I
Yeah.
here?
Yeah, you're there.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
great.
we have you back, Kim.
I love that you created an extension because, I love the idea of meeting people where they are, right? That's, I think, such an important thing from a usability perspective and from an adoptions point of view, because we all use different platforms and technology, and then you have to go download something and integrate it. It's too much work. So I love this idea that you're meeting people where they are. So how did this come about? Like, how did this idea of creating this come about? I know there's a need for it, but why did you guys think of this? Like, was this just because you've been in the wellness space your whole life? Like, what was that moment that's like, man, I need a way to check to see if my heart rate's too high, or if I'm stressing out, or the person on the other phone is stressing out? How did this come about?
Yeah, it's very much also a personal journey. I struggled with anxiety and high stress, and
Mm,
most of my life after trauma. So for me, like doing yoga, meditation retreats, mindfulness breath work with my friend and mentor Wim Hof, he's called the Iceman too, have really like opened my eyes up to like, whoa, there's something that can help me without having to need to take any, pills or, you know, like doing kind of some kind of intense therapy. It was really like this, like, oh, those tools are available. But whenever I came back to New York from, doing research on meditation or visual stimuli at the Institute of Neuroscience in Oregon or so, where it was calm, chill. I came back here and it's like, oh my God, it's so hard to keep up a meditation practice in New York. People that was, 6, 7 years ago, people were already on their screen, a lot back then, and, struggled with keep maintaining a practice of, even just, running or whatever it is, right? Because there's such high demand. So I always thought like, oh, in urban environments, that's not going to go away. People are always going to stay in cities, moving more there, using more screens. So we created multiple XR biofeedback technologies where you have to put on a VR headset, go through meditation, see your heart rate. We won an award at Stanford and so on. But I was always very uncomfortable with, adding more virtual reality, any kind of wearables to people's lives. So at MIT in 2018, we started to use the webcam and machine learning to detect heart rate and then to personalize the screens and audio. And then so that was very successful with like another follow-up prototype. And then I just thought, okay, if nobody else is building this company, I'm moving from tech and research into, starting my own startup. I got the patent granted and got a very amazing team, wonderful team, very passionately working on this right now. So now we're just making it we just want to make it very, very simple and easy. So people can explore meditation retreats or yoga or posture or something if they want, but we're offering just like a very simple solution that helps them at literally, as you said, like where they are.
Awesome.
Thank you. I hope I can get this question out before my connectivity bombs. Hannes, my question is about personalization. Does this mean I get to choose what I personally like and want? Or does this mean the AI tells me what I need? Or is it a bit of both?
That's a great question. Like, yeah, the mistake or like the lesson I learned from the first year of the startup was, or the first half a year, was really that I made the tech too much of the focus, the AI. And I think now we really pivoted on our UX department, really like makes a lot of like usability testing and see what makes people feel better in terms of a product. And then obviously they're interacting with like the front end and with the data scientists and seeing how can the AI basically make the decisions on based on what the user what helps them feel better. And I mean, what also got me into is like we have like two levels. One is the break reminders, which is conscious decision. So you can choose, also which ones you like, or skip some, and then we can learn which ones you like. Maybe you don't like to take a deep breath. Maybe you just like to have, like shoulder rolls or eye movements. And then the other one is unconscious, the color filter, the vital sign detection. And, I think most people probably can't sense their heart rate or breathing patterns while they're on their screen. So we can learn what that is and how it could be personalized. So one part is like users can choose it, and then the AI can learn from the user. And the other part is also like learning about which colors, which brightness are most soothing for the user. That's also something we can provide. So, but it's always kind of like an interaction of like the user's well-being, the user's nervous system, and and their own decisions are always at the front and at the end of everything what we're doing. And so AI is there to support that and to learn and to help feed them back the best experience.
Okay, Hans, I have a question. Well, first of all, did I pronounce your name correctly? Is it
Hannes.
Hannes? Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Hannes, I can understand at a very, let's call basic level, because I'm not an engineer, at the layman level, if you will, the concept of how breathing AI works at the artificial intelligence machine learning level. But I'm intrigued, and this is because uh, I can see that it works with webcams. I'm intrigued about the optics. So I mean the actual the physics part of it. How does it integrate with the software part or the engineering part in a way, just to make sure that you're inputting accurate information, because you're talking about things that have to do with the body and with your physical self. So what are where does the optics come in play? I'm just curious. I'm just wondering about that part. And then, of course, there is this other element of what are other areas that have to do with optics or electronics can come in. For example, as you mentioned, wearables. I own a Fitbit, so that those kinds of wearables. So, but right now I'm more intrigued about the optics. How do you make sure that you have an actual reliable output based on the optics, and how does it integrate with the engineering or software part?
Yeah, everything we do is science based, and oftentimes we publish papers on our research, and also our vital sign detection was developed by a research lab, and it's probably state of the art. So oftentimes, like the vital sign detection of using the webcam and machine learning is almost comparable with like the accuracy of medical devices. So there's a lot like the process being made in a field called so-called remote photoplethysmography. It's also
Mm-hmm.
RPPG. So there's already other companies that can also detect blood oxygen saturation, and others. We're working on that as well. But for us, it's just kind of detecting what is somebody's heart rate and breathing pattern, and then learning like how is that responding differently, responding personally and different to different colors. So we all probably have different preferences, and I think the fascinating, if you look at, for instance, if you have an iPhone, you text with somebody who has an iPhone too, it's always blue and gray. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like comfort, it's calming colors mostly. And then if you text with somebody who has a bright green color, Android, and oftentimes that creates actually an elevated heart rate for most people, bright green. So there's already like a lot of color psychology. Orange or red when somebody is more hungry or thirsty, to drive attention there. So there's a lot of things that are more like work for all humans, but we all have different colors to based on our personal experience. So we're tapping into that as well, and basically learning about each other. So I also like a bit selfish, like I don't know what's my most calming color. So it's like it's trusting the AI, and the scientific evaluation. So it's like an ongoing scientific study on each user, like what helps, test out, and in a simple way, with them feeling comfortable, of course, with our experience in design, and then feeding them back the most soothing color or break reminders. But yeah, like the code, especially, like everything is very, very science driven, and we're working with multiple research labs here in New York and across the US. So I'm very always excited to make sure that the science is right.
Cool. I got one more, and then I'm going to pass it on to my teammates. Yeah, regarding the your users, the people who are actually installing the extension and all that. I'm just curious if you have received any kind of feedback on the way that it has benefited your user base, or if you're at an early stage, how are you going to go about obtaining user feedback to improve? Are you working on that already, or have you received any kind of feedback or comments, reviews from your users thus far?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, everything we came just to the conclusion to develop a Chrome extension after like in-depth interviews and surveys with hundreds of people, and then also prior to that, like the years of research using wearables, XR technologies to really meet people where they are. And Chrome extension, there's like a market share of over 80%, and it also ours integrates into Firefox soon and Safari. So just easily integrating it in there based on like already what users have been saying, and then we've always been testing every feature, every functionality to see how people respond, that they feel comfortable with it, because it needs to be just like very quick for people to install it, to use it, especially if it's for wellness programs. In Mexico, there's already the NOM 35 regulation, so that
Hmm.
when employees use it, that they feel that they can trust this, and it feels good for them. And so yeah, everything we're doing is based on the user experience, and they're on the Chrome store already. For the link for the beta, there's a lot of user feedback that people say, oh, I used like another color filter, but I couldn't choose the color. It was always orange, and for us, they can choose it, or it could be automatically detected. Other people use like other break reminder Chrome extensions, but it's very invasive. It takes over the whole screen, even during video calls. So we make that far more nuanced, gentle, and for break reminders we have over 100 right now. So that is also very very integrated based on the feedback, and offering different break reminders. Some people don't want to meditate; they just want to get a simple relaxation exercise. So all of that is basically driven by user surveys and looking how we can like benefit just the simple screen user as well as like the employee, the remote screen worker, or in the office who has screens. So yeah, that's like obviously like we haven't like we don't have like a user base of millions, but maybe soon, and then it will be even a better experience because we are very like we're almost integrating like user feedback overnight and pushing new updates through. So we're very passionate there about making it the best experience for all users.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, Kim, Tulio, back to you.
Kim, I think you had a couple of questions, or
Yeah,
I think
unless
she's frozen again. Okay,
Am I
yeah.
here?
so
Oh no.
Uh,
Is that your steam powered internet, Kim, or what's
yes,
going on?
no, I
steam
don't know
powered
what's going
internet.
on. I'm thinking my kids are all connected to YouTube and stuff. I have no
Get off
idea.
the
I,
internet.
I hear you. I hear you. Okay.
I'm sending messages like, get off! Nobody's listening to me. But that's not new either. Uh, my question was mobile applications. So I think we're talking about workspaces, generally speaking, this is your desktop, web. Is there going to be, or is there already a transition? I know a lot of people more and more are actually working from their cell phone.
Oh, cool. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I didn't know. There is also like they're integrating Chrome extensions now for Firefox, Safari, and so for mobile too. So
Mhm.
once that is ready, we can easily integrate there. I do think like apps are a bit. We don't want to develop another app. Maybe, as you know, like just for iOS. I'm an iOS user myself, and now as well as Android. But there's so many iOS apps out there we have on our screen. So there's over 2 million for 800 million users. So it's 40 apps. 30, like the ratio is like 40 users for one iOS app versus like Chrome extension or browser extensions. It's like billions and billions of users for browsers, but there's only a few 100,000, and like really professionally developed extensions are very rare. So it's over, we did the math, like it's over 10,000 users ratio per extension for browser extension. And so as soon as they go mobile, we just have to make a few adjustments, and then it could be offered as one of the first probably mobile extensions as well. So we are ready for iPads, it's working, or for like tablets. So we're trying to be like up to date there as well. Good question.
Excellent. So I'm curious what your thoughts are on this. I mean, there's been great talks in the recent years about the wearables and how that was going to impact wellness space and the health industry. But this changes things a little bit. I mean, quite a bit actually, because there's no need for a wearable. It's using, I don't know what it's using, but it's picking up something that is available and accessible. Is that science something that can be expanded beyond just the are you under stress? Is your heart rate elevated? Can it then be used to detect other things in the future? Is this some new science that has been discovered? Curious to learn what are the nuances of this that doesn't require a sensor or a wearable, for
Yeah,
example.
that's great. Like the technology has been out for a while, similar ones, but it's getting more accurate because like the processing power gets better, the cloud computing gets better, just
Mm,
on the device, just the whole computation, and then also the webcams are getting better. So if you think of a webcam just a few years ago, they were just very pixelated, and the frames per second were not so many. So what our technology is doing is basically comparing each frame and looking if you would freeze probably like the screen right now, like if some of us had like would have a very red face because our blood pulsates through our body at every moment. So sometimes there's more blood in our head, and so our but we don't see it with our human eye because we always average each other's appearance. But the on the back end, our technology can compare the different frames and see like, oh, in this frame, the forehead was more lighter, there was not too many red pixelation, and then the next frame you can say like there's a lot of red pixelation. And humans all have red blood, so the red pixelation is always like an indicator of like the different heart rate variability, and then also deriving the blood, the respiration rate, also like when we're breathing, our shoulders are moving differently, and then blood oxygen saturation could be derived from that, and so many other different vital signs. And I also did a COVID-19 project called vitalsign.ai, where we aimed for half a year, for the first half a year of the pandemic, to look at like, can we detect early symptoms of COVID-19? We were a volunteering project of over 200 people, almost 200 people, a lot of data scientists there and researchers, because and there's other projects right now doing that as well in companies, because like if the respiration patterns gets a little bit more shallow over time, the blood oxygen saturation drops below 95 or below
hmm,
80%. That's an indicator of potential COVID-19 infection. So
right.
also be used for that. But my interest was always more on like well-being. So I shifted away back full focus on my digital health startup, because if we improve our overall health on a daily basis, we're probably also less likely to get to get sick, and like even just like simple small things. So if you like we take 22,000 breaths a day, but like oftentimes they're very shallow. So just a simple thing as like breathing deeper, more shallow, and taking less breaths but deeper breaths through our diaphragm, and so like and relaxed body can go a long way for like a daily health. And then there's less 6 days for employees. People feel better, and there's an interesting Harvard study actually. So it's like most people are interested in like a personalized, like a good workspace over unlimited vacation days. So we're trying to really improve that. And yeah, the technology only get better. Like the webcam gets better.
Yeah.
Soon we have two
There's
shots a second.
there's so many applications for this in terms of where it could go. I mean, imagine your Ring camera, someone rings the bell and it scans to see if you're stressed out before you come into the house, or if you're about to have a heart attack, or if you have COVID for that matter, or you get into your car and it can scan to see if you're inebriated. There's so many applications. Kim just wants to know, can it scan to tell me if I'm hungry and order me a cheeseburger? That's what she wants to know. She put it in the chat window here. No,
Oh,
all kidding aside, we're coming up on time. So we don't we would be remiss to ask this question, which is, what's it like working there? I mean, what kind of people are you looking to join you on this vision, on this quest that you guys are embarking in?
yeah.
What's a day in the life at your company?
Yeah, we have those, like as you mentioned, like we actually our patent also covers audio and olfactory. So we want to be the company to go for like a trusted brand, the trusted brand to personalize your devices. So Chrome extension is our first product, but we're also aiming to personalize all screen experiences. Audio is there. Like if you imagine, like we talked about, like talking with like certain voice assistants earlier. So what if
Mm,
that voice would be the most calming voice, the most soothing voice for your nervous system or for each user? So we all would talk with different voices for the voice assistant, but it's based on like how our vital signs are responding to different tones, different volumes, different gender sounds of the voice. And then Internet of Things if you go into cars. So we want to be that company. So we'd love to work with anybody who's interested in seeing that as a vision to truly personalize technologies around well-being. And I think when people are more relaxed, they perform better as well, and they interact with each other better as well. And versus when we're stressed, we're always in this fight or flight mode, and we don't comprehend so many things actually. So a lot of companies are focusing on employee wellness programs. We're also looking for there's, as I mentioned, in Mexico, we're looking to expand there. We have everything translated into Central American Spanish right now. So we're like our website in a few days will be up in Spanish as well. And because like there's a market already with the NOM 35 regulation, which requires companies to detect stress levels, offers employee wellness programs. So we have
uh,
I want to expand the market, and always curious to like work with anybody who's very mission aligned, because there's so many tasks we can do, we need to achieve. So
yeah, there's so much to be done. It's been great to learn about this technology and how it's being applied into just meeting people where they are with this extension. We wish you a lot of success in moving in the mobile arena with this as well. I mean, there's so much opportunity for us to know when we need to take a moment to just breathe, right? I mean, sometimes you just go, 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 and you need a break. And having something that says, "Hey, man, slow down, take a deep breath," could
Mhm.
be pretty cool. So it's been great to have you. We'll have to keep track on your progress and have you back and hear some use cases. And don't worry about Mexico; we got you covered. Just stay with us as we go off the air. We'll talk about that. Carlos, what do we got coming up next week?
We got a full week, Tulio. Three conversations in a row: Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So on Tuesday, we'll be speaking with Fetcher, as a matter of fact, with Andres with an S, not Andre, Andres Blank, the principal at Fetcher, and which is a recruiting automation platform. I don't have the topic yet for that one, but on Wednesday, that's going to be on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, we are going to be speaking with John Honchario. I hope I got that right. The CEO and founder of Companion. And the topic will be, again, AI, animals, and empathy. The
Hmm.
topic: Can AI help us better understand animals around us and increase empathy in the world? So I think that's for animal lovers out there. And finally, on Thursday, we'll be speaking with Aaron Guyette, the CEO of Pedestal. The topic, why you'll fail and what you can do to stop it. Again, so these are all great conversations right here on Dojo Live at 12 p.m. Pacific. So join us, be here or be square. And of course, as ever, be safe. And thanks to our guest, Hannes, for having joined us today right here on Dojo Live.
Yes. See you all back on Monday as well on the recap show.
Oh, the
We'll
recap show,
all the
of course.
shows in 10 minutes. So see you guys. Be safe.
Thank you.